Okay, already start. Tamam. Okay. So, okay. So welcome everyone to course TM354. The course is a software engineering. My name is Dr. Samah Mohammed Osman Hassan. I will be the BCC for this course for this semester, inshallah, or this fall. I hope you all doing a great job with the TM354. I know all of you have different faculty in all the branches. They all are doing a great job with all of you, as I know, and I am sure for that. This session will be only to support you and giving you extra information. And if you have any questions, if you have any doubt about the subject, so together we will discuss what's going on. We call these sessions as master sessions. This is our first master session. The time of the master session will be always 8 to 10 morning because most of us, we don't have a class in this time. Maybe this is not a convenient time for the most of you, but we have to be there as much as we can to get the benefits of the course. So let us start our master session. And by the end, we'll try to have, if you have any questions, we will discuss together if you have any issue. Okay? By all, we have around 12 units in TM354 in this course. We have 12 units. Each unit have different topic and different concept and different way to study and react into that course. They divided the course into 3 blocks, block 1, block 2, and block 3. From block 1, we have unit 1, unit 2, and unit 3. For unit 1, just some cursor. For block 1, we'll have unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, and unit 4. And just be aware, unit 4, they are self-study. We have three lecture, they are self-study, like unit 4 in block 1, unit 8 in block 2, and unit 12 in block 3. Self-study means the teacher, they will not show this in the classes. So this is regarding to you. You have to open the slide, study what is there. And the most of these units, they will be contains only example to solve. Examples with already solved. So your job is study this example carefully. And my advice for all of you, don't just see the slide. Just read the scenario more than one time, close the answer, try to write the scenario or drawing the diagram from your mind. That will be better for you. It will be a good practice for all of you to prepare yourself for the exam. Okay? No, I will speak about what will be included in the MTA. This is just more details about the unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, how many slides they have, how many, this is just a normal information for your information, we already know it. For our assessment breakdown, as we know this time, they changed the system as for the attendance and activity, we have 10 marks. For the TMA will be 10 marks. For the midterm, there will be a 30 marks added. No change in that. And for the final, it's a 50. So all of us, we consider now, I see the timetable for the MTA has been released. So we all know that our exam is so near for the course TM354. I have been getting some email from some students saying that some wrong information about the MTA. The MTA will be covering only unit 1, 2, 3, and 5. Only unit 1, 2, 3, and 5. Including unit 4, you already study, ya Jama'ah. This is a self-study. So maybe they will bring something from unit 4. So because this self-study means you have to study. But officially, we'll see the MTA will come from unit 1, 2, and 3, and 5. So you have to study the 5 units. The TMA will be covering unit 1, 2, 3, and 5, and 6. And the final will be cover all the 12 units. So you have to be aware about what is going on into this course, okay? And the MTA will be as a paper-based, will be on campus, will be as covering unit 1, 2, and 3, and 5. The structure of the MTA will be something like, as we all normally know in all the MTEs, as our course is a theoretical course. So we'll have a multiple choices, short answer, problem solving, and some generating diagrams. And I'm always told the student, generating diagram is something you can get higher marks on it, because for each and every scenario, we have a specific yes diagram should be correct. But you as a student, you can show you understand by different way. You can draw your own diagram. It should be correct also if you put everything and if you understand what's going on. So please try to drawing the diagram correctly to get the high marks either in the MTA or in the final. That is my advice for all of you. Also, the final exam will be paper-based, and I will be in the campus. There will be coverage unit 1 to the whole course. And a possible structures mean, ya Jama'a, the structure, it may be changed, because the people putting the exam, they try to change the structures of the exam to show that you understand the course. It will not be a repeated question every time. So the possible standard, it will be a multiple choices, short answer, and some problem solving, and also generating the diagram. You will notice the both of them, the MTA structure and the final exam, they look same. Multiple choices, shorted answer, problem solving, and some diagram should be drawing there. So for that, you have to be understand and be careful that the diagram should not be repeated. Maybe they bring a different diagram, but not from outside of the course. It should be from our course. Activity diagram, class diagram, object diagram, but it may be in a different way of the questions. Okay? Is that clear, people? That will be our calendar for, this is all one, but it will be the same. We have to cover unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 11, because as I mentioned before, unit 4, unit 8, unit 12, they will not be included in the classes. It will be a self-study. Okay? So we just want to start by showing our diagram. Please, people, try to join the class by your university email, because we are taking the attendance by the end of the class, and that will make you access the recorded after we finish. If you enter by different email, you will not be allowed to see the recorded. Okay, so we'll start by the diagrams. We have two kinds of diagram normally. We have a static diagram and a dynamic diagram. Static mean it will be represented as a system that are independent of the time. So it has to be step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, depends on the nature of the system. If you are building an education system, it will be different. If you are building a health system, it will be different. If you are building an accounting system, it will be different. We have some diagram, we call them as a static diagram, like the activity diagram, a use case diagram, a class diagram, an object diagram, and package diagram. I think we all now finishing or about to finish unit 5, so we know exactly what's mean by the activity diagram and what's mean by the use case diagram. The activity diagram is something showing the flow of the control of the data in the various activity. So if I am speaking about the education system in Arab Open University, there will be the following: students should be registered first, then they have to payment second, then they have to open their schedule third, then only they can allow to start their courses and see or entering the LMS account. So that is a kind of activity diagram. A use case diagram that should be speak about the functionality of the system. A functionality of the system, that means I want to explain clearly what is the registration job have been done. A class diagram, it will be showing how many classes will be acting into that job. Like if I have speaking about Arab Open University, I will be having a student class and a faculty class. Student and faculty, they will be acting to each other. And we have the object diagram that is related if I have one student's class and I have 100 objects from that student. So that's we call an object diagram. A package diagram, as we all know from Java, package that means is a library containing a lot of functions and methods inside that. So now here in our system is divided into a different package along with the dependency between this package. So it can have package 1, package 2, package 3, package 4. They all working together to build our system. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagram, that kind of diagram, you call them as a static diagram. The second kind of diagram is called a dynamic diagram. Diagramic will be representing the behavior of the system and the interaction between them. Behavior means how the system is act. So we'll have a sequence diagram that will show how the object interact with each other. So if I creating an object for a student and creating an object for the faculty, Samah, so I will show how these both objects, they will interact to each other. I will, as a Samah faculty, I will have to enter to the LMS. I will see your TMA Word file. I will check your data. I will upload your marks. As a student, you can upload the TML file. You can see your similarity. You can check your marks and so on. So this is a sequence diagram, which can be like this. A communication diagram, it will show a representation interaction between the objects. So how they are we collaborated as a rules. What is my role in the system? My role in the system as a faculty, I will see your TMA and I will correct and I will put your marks. Your role is there to upload the TMA file correctly by specific type of file. So we have a different role in the system. And a state chart diagram show that a life cycle of the object. Life cycle of the object, that means when the object will be created and when that object will be ended. As we all remember in M251, we have a way of something in Java diagram called, in Java program called garbage collection. This will, when after we create every constructor for each class, by the end of the system, they will destroy everything by something called destructor. Is that clear, people? Do you have any questions? If you have any question, you can write it in the chat room. Why there's some people in the lobby? Okay. Okay. Here we put also a differentiation between our diagram. That is just to make your life is easy and to make you a plan or a path to study the diagrams. In block 1, you will find in unit 3, and we will mention the activity diagram. It's showing they have their own samples. So you have to take care, people, the differentiation between using the samples. The sample difference depends on the name of the diagram. When we are creating an activity diagram, we're using different sample. When we are creating a use case diagram, we'll use a different samples. When we are using a class diagram, our diagram should be different and object diagram will be different. My advice also to you to make sure you understand the difference between activity diagram, use case diagram, class diagram, and object diagram. Why? Because in the exam, they will give you a scenario saying there is a hospital doing, there is a library, some member, they will come take book from that library, blah, blah, blah. So I'll give you a long scenario. After the scenario is finished, they'll ask you to draw an activity diagram. So if you, instead of drawing the activity diagram, you drawing the use case, so you will get a 0 marks because you already didn't understand the question correctly. So be sure when they ask you to draw activity diagram, you use this symbol here, and it look like something like that. This is a correct activity diagram for specific scenarios. When they ask you to use a case, to draw a use case diagram, make sure you understand what's meant by use case and check this sample for the actor and for the oval and for the link and for the dash lines. And the use case diagram will look something like that. For the class diagram, you will show something like that. This is the class diagram using for the UML design. For each and every class, there will be one rectangular, separated into 3 parts, the name of the class, the properties, and the behavior of the class. And finally, we'll have our object diagram. Okay? We have also sequence diagram. We didn't receive it yet. That will be in blocks in units 6 and 7. And I think all of you didn't go through that until now because we are just about to finish unit 5. So we leave that now for this moment. We will review for block 1. The block 1 unit speak about a software development. We all know what's mean a software development. If we find this is a kind of question, it may come in the exam. Briefly explain what is meant by system boundary and system environment. These two definitions, they are in our slide, so maybe find question like that. So simply, you have to give a specific definition for the system boundary. System boundary is a conceptual line that divided the system that we wish to study from everything else. System environment is made up of those things which are not part of the system, but which can be either. People, when they told you explain, you just simply put the definition of system boundary and the definition for system environment. Don't write a whole page writing. If you don't know the answer, that means you don't know the answer. If you know the answer, it will be only 2 or 3 lines. Some people, they are writing a full page, ya jama'a, to answering a short question. This kind of question came like short question. Short means the answer will be 2 or 3 lines, not more than that. Don't try to make Is that clear, people? Okay. Another way of questions. The important characteristic of software that affect its development are malleability, complexity, and size. Briefly explain each one of them. For my student in the class, I told him this is very important definitions for the characteristic of the software. We have 4: malleability, complexity, and size. Malleability is ability of making the software is easy to change or can be changed anytime, everywhere. Complexity, whenever we have a small system, we cannot say that system is complex. Whenever we have a bigger system, so that system, it will be a complex system. A size of the system, whenever we have a small task like 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 10, say we keep this is size, the size is small. But when we are building an accounting system for a Rajhi bank, this will be a very big size of our system with very complexity. So these characteristics, they are very important for each and every software. So maybe they will ask us simply, briefly explain each one of them. That means we want to, the examiner wants you to show, first of all, you understand what's mean by malleability. So you have to put a definition for malleability, a definition for complexity, a definition for size. As extra, you can put an example for a malleability software or a complexity software or some size, some example for the size, the big or the size is small. This kind of question, ya jama'a, if you understand it clearly and put a clear answer into that, you will get a very high marks in this course. This course, it depends on you understanding the course and you understanding the questions. It is not just I always told my student, they ask me, do we have to memorize everything? We have to memorize, but we have to memorize by understanding what's going on. Memorizing without understanding, if they change the way of the question, you cannot answer correctly. So you have to understand first, memorize second, then third, when you go to the exam hall, try to understand the question, then only you can answer. Okay, people? Is that clear, people? Do you have any questions until now or anything you want to say? Just let me drink a little bit of water. Okay. Now we have in slide number 8 something speak about we have an system R that are old. The system are old, that means they are critical for the business, difficult to maintain. Everything now, if it's old, they'll be having an old structures and old techniques, and now we are all moving to the a modern style of life. So something like a legacy system that is very old system, we avoid to use that kind of system. And a system that are old and critical to the business is difficult to maintain and still being used are known as like a boundary system, efficient system, and a modular system. And the most important one in our course is a legacy system. A legacy system is something like when we are back in the days, we are all the banks, for example, in a specific country, they will use the same accounting software. And that's now it is not there. Now for each and every bank, they have their own system, their own software, their own techniques. Why we avoid to use the legacy system now? Because they are so large, critical to use, change many times, difficult to understand, and difficult to maintain. So that is why what are legacy system and what are some of their characteristics. They are so huge, so large, difficult to maintain. So that's why we avoid to use them these days. There may be another question like, what are some reasons that legacy system might be difficult to understand and maintain? Because it's very old. And sometimes there will be no experience who built that system. There will be no documentation for who building that system. There will be no one responsible for that system to go and ask them. So we avoid that kind of system. We better start our system from scratch and building our own software. And that has happened, as I remember back in the days, in my country, all the banking, they are using only one banking system. It's very old, very complex. They have been built by one company from out of the country. They came, they put the system and prepare everything and left the country. So whenever error happens, the people there, they cannot know what is going on. They cannot update. It's very complex to understand. These people, they didn't give them any documentation how they build the system. So finally, they find themselves remove the legacy system and start from scratch. Okay? There will be a characteristic of good software, general, like a software should be useful, usable, reliable, flexible, available, and affordable. So they may ask you briefly explain each one of them. For each one of them, we have a specific explanation in our slide. What's mean by useful? Anyone can use it. What's mean by usable? Anyone can use it. What's mean by reliable? It will be working all the time. What's mean by flexible? It's easy to change. What's mean by affordable? It's everyone can use it without paying any money. There is no money for that. So for that, they may ask you a question like, which these characteristics missing on the legacy system? It's the legacy system we just mentioned here. It's large, it's huge, it is difficult to understand. So there is no flexibility in the legacy system. Briefly explain the difference between useful and affordable. You have two options here. Either you give the definition of useful and give the definition of the affordable, that will be enough. Or you can say the difference between useful and affordable, that also will be another way to solve these questions. Is that clear, people? هل هذا واضح يا جماعة? Do you have any questions? Okay, now we'll go for another concept in our course called, it's very important, called coupling and coherence. Coupling and coherence means a first one that is come in the unit 1, slide number 11. Coupling is a degree of independency among different modules. Try to understand this difference module. So here in this example, if I have module 1, module 2, module 3, they are dependent on each other. So that is called coupling. Anti-coupling, that's too much of independency, that will be not good. We have to do something like loosely coupling. There will be some dependency, but not 100% dependency, because that will make our system complex. And as we mentioned before, a complexity is something we try to avoid it in our system. Okay? The second concept is a cohesion. A cohesion is an activity, how a close activity with a single module. So you have to make sure that you understand a single module, that means a single job. They have different step relate activity depends on each other. So my activity is E, I have activity 2, activity 3 depending on each other in the same module. So that means a coherent. So if we have a coherent and we have multiple coupling, so that will lead us to complex system. So for making our life to making the life is easy, you have to make something like balance between the coupling and the coherence. So you have to make your module depends on each other in a low, and making your model depends on each other in the high way. So that is a job of the developer people. So a developer should try to achieve the best balance between the level of coupling and the level of coherence. Okay? واضح يا جماعة? Is that clear? Do you have any questions until now? Okay. So maybe will come some question like distinguish between the customer and the user. This is already in our slides. We have a definition for the customer and we have a definitions for the clients. They will say a customer is someone who pay for a software system, and user are people who use it on day-to-day basis. Also, a customer may be also one of the intended user. So a user, the people use the system. A customer, a people pay for the system, but also a customer can be a user. I will not pay for something, I will not use it. So maybe they will ask you simply, give a distinguish between a customer and a user. So simply you will give that small definition. Customer is the one who pay for a software. A user, that's someone they will use the system. Okay? We'll go for a software developer. For a software developer, we have 3 kinds of module. We discussed them in unit 1, a waterfall module, an iterative module, and agile module. The one and the second, they are so old technique. Most of the people now, they are not use it. Most of the software developer now, they're using the third one is agile module because it's very modern and very stylish. If we go for the water module, a motor module is something like the activity will be running like in a circle. It will be like analysis first, design, implementations, testing, release, maintenance. This is a software development life cycle in general for each and every software without specifying the techniques. So our software development life cycle is having 6 steps: analyzing the data, designing the data, implementation, testing, release, and maintenance. And sometimes you find in some books it's just analyzing, design, implementation, testing, and maintenance. They will remove the release part. Sometimes you will say it's requirement, designing, implementation, testing, and maintenance. So that depends on the type of the book you are studying. If you are going for the first software engineering module, which is called waterfall module, waterfall means the water, when the water, we all know what's mean by waterfall. We saw the waterfall. A waterfalls mean the water will go from up to down. It will not return back, never, ever. So when we are in the first level or phase as a requirement, we have to make sure we are finishing everyone in this part then only we can move to the second phase. If we are not finishing here and we move to design, we cannot return back people because this is a techniques for waterfall. When we are in design, we have to make sure that we finish every step here, then only we can move to the development. After we start the development part, we have to make sure that we finish everything, then only we'll go for testing, then we will finish, go for development. After we finish, go for a maintenance. So by this step, going step by step and from the beginning until the end, that's why we call this module a waterfall module. It's very old techniques. Most of the people, I have no idea now there's one using these techniques until now. As my knowledge, most of the people now, they are not using this technology. It's very old. We use this technology when we are software engineering very long back in the days. The second type of module is called iterative and incremental. Iterative means we will repeat the process more than one time. Incremental, that means for each iteration, we will add something. Like when we all hear مثلا about Java M251. A Java starts by version 1. After some time, they add some library, it became version 2. After some times, they became version 2.1. Then it became version 2.3, version 4, and they keep increasing like this. People just give me minutes. 5 minutes, I will come back, please. Okay, people, I am here. Type. We are in iterative and incremental. Iterative and incremental, as I told you, something like when we Java build or any software, they build a something, we say version 1. They will add something for the next year or the next month. They will say version 1.2, version 2, version 3, so that kind of incremental. For the incremental technique, it will be requirement, design, implementation, final release. During the time, they will add more requirements, more design, more implementation, and more release. They will keep doing this until they finish the entire system. So that's called iterative and incremental. Okay. The third technique, it's a modern one, which is called agile model. In agile model, we are doing reviewing, deploying, testing, design, planning, and launch. Agile methodology, it will keep repeating themselves. If I need anything from the requirement, I can go back. If I need anything from the design, I can go back, go forward. So that is the easiest way for building a software. Most of the software company now, they are using the agile module. It's easy, affordable, make the communication more better, make the developer more productive. So that most of the software company, they are using the agile module now. Okay. Here in this website, they will have some 16 amazing agile statistic. What companies use the agile methodology, you can go and check for them. They will be very growth in using the agile techniques. The summary, the research summary that's in 2002, they'll see at least 71 of United States company are now using agile. Agile project have 64 success rate, whereas a project under the computing methodology known as waterfall only have 49 success rate. So this is so big difference. With that in mind, agile projects are nearly 1.5x more successful than the waterfall project, which is we already said. After adopting agile, companies have experienced on average 60% growth in their revenue profit. Scrum is the most popular agile framework. We have different frameworks. When you finish your study and joining one of the software developer, if you want to be a software developer, you will find different way of the techniques. You will start as a junior software, then slowly you will develop yourself and your skill. So the most knowing now, most of the developer use it, as I told you, is agile techniques because it will affect in the work and it's lead to a successful project. Most of the company, they didn't want to have a failed project. They want to have a successful projects. Also, agile project management, they are saying something like, some people, they are use it, some company like Cisco, Barclay, Banera Parade, PlayStation Network, all these people, they using the agile technique like Apple, IBM, Microsoft. Most of them, they're using the agile technique. So that's mean it's good because this is a very big names in the business world. Test plan in review after completing development at waterfall module. A waterfall module, because it's very old, we have to do testing after everything, as we're seeing here in our diagram. When after we finish requirement, design, development, then only we can do testing. Otherwise, we are not doing testing for the requirement or for the design or for the development. Here, there'll be some question like, list the stage or activity of the waterfall model and discuss the benefit obtained in the applying the iterative and incremental development approach. We can see waterfall module stage are analysis, design, implementation, testing, and maintenance. This 0-point mark for each stage listed with the maximum 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it may be 2 or 2.5. Then you can see the benefit of applying iterative module and incremental approach is that it is difficult to identify all the requirements and stay them from the start of the beginning. So that's why we need to return back and back again, not use the waterfall. Is that especially if the system are complex, ya Jama'ah. If your system is complex, you need to understand more and more and more. And sometimes here, we collect the requirements, but when we start designing and development, we feel like we want more information. We want to know something extra. Something is not correct. Something cannot be done by this way. So if we are in waterfall, we cannot return back. But here, we can do first task, like مثلا registration. I make the full requirement, the design, and start doing something. If I feel I will add something more, I can add more requirement, more design, and new implementation, and I will keep increment until I find the final prototype or the final system. So this is the advantage of using the iterative and incremental module. This is just a simple answer or a correct 100% answer. You can write your answer with a different way, and it should be also simple, and it will be also understandable. This is the kind of question you will think about it when you study something like TM354. When you study, yes, you have to memorize, but when you are memorizing, you have to think about how the questions it will come in the exam. This is the main question. واضح يا جماعة? Any question? Is that clear? People, then the question of هذه مفروض نحفظها. This subject, as I told my student, and I will told you also, and told your friend, this is a theoretical subject. So you have to memorize. لازم تحفظي. You have to memorize. There's no other options. But how you will memorize it, this is returned back to you. How you are reading, how you think about the questions. As a student, this is your job to think about how the question it come from this part, how they will ask me in this department. And that knowledge will get only by solving a lot of questions from the mock exam or the mock material, which is already have in the LMS. And together, as we see now, together we try to guess some questions and we give some answer. From that, you find a way for yourself how you will study this subject. Okay? Now we have important topic also in this unit is called Unified Process UB. A unified process is short for UB. A process is a building for a specific task. It may be registration, it may be payment, it may be schedule, it may be reservation. For all this, we call this is a process. For a process, it will be more than one process when I want to build my system. A building enterprise system based on object-oriented approach for which development module allow us, which is called iterative and incremental. It will come for inceptions, elaboration, construction, and transition. For each and every process, you have to understand how this process collaborates with each other process in the system. How I will make transition, that means I will move from step 1 to step 2, or from process 1 to process 2. That should be understandable by you as a software developer. Based on agile module, diagram should be simple, complete, complex, simple, full details. I always told a diagram avoid complexity. You can add more and more and more for the diagram, and that will make your life difficult and the life of the developer more difficult. So when you are drawing a diagram, it should be complete. That means there's start point and end point. It should be simple, clear, understandable, avoid complexity, avoid ambiguity, and full with the details. So that is a perfect diagram. We have two important things in our software word we call verifications and validation. Verification is how, Validation is what? Verifications means, are we building the software right? Validations mean, are we building the right software to our job? So verifications means, are we building the product right? If it's correct, that means we are doing a good verification. If the system do what we need or our need as a customer, so we get a validation for this system. So for that, they may ask you, find a differentiation between verification and validation, or give example for verification and validation. So when you are reading, think about the questions first, then only you can have a good memory to memorize the answer. Unit 2, that we finish Unit 1 reviewing, we'll go for Unit 2. Unit 2 speak about the requirement concept. For requirement concept means, when we sit as a developer or software engineering, we have to sit with the customer or the client, ask them about the requirement of the system. If I want to build an accounting system and I have no idea or no clue how the system is work, I cannot build a system. So first, I have to go sit with the people, understand the requirement of the system. For each and every requirement, for each and every system, we have two types of requirements. One called functional requirements, and the second called non-functional requirements. A functional requirement is something related to the functionality or the system or how the system is work. A non-functional requirement is something about related the quality of how the system is work, as we will see now. For a functional requirements, as an objective, we can see what the product does. For a non-functional requirement, we can see how the product works. For focusing, we can see focus in the user requirement as a functionality, focusing on the user expectation as a non-functionality. For a documentation, we can see functionality and use cases, and non-functionality as a quality or the attributes of the system. How to define a non-functionality requirement of the project. Mandatory, for the functional requirement should be mandatory. It's a product feature. For non-functional, should be product properties or characteristic, and not mandatory. You can do it or you cannot do it. For the functional requirements will be defined by the user who want us to build the system. For a non-functional is defined by the developer how they want your system look like. For the functional requirement, it will be something like component, API, user interface. A lot of things can be done here in the testing. For a non-functionality, you can test the performance, the usability, the security, the flexibility, the affordability. All these non-functional requirements can be tested. For the type, it will be external interface, authentications. For the non-functional, it will be usability, reliability, scalability, or performance. Is that clear, people? So may we have a question like, briefly explain how requirements need to be necessary and traceable, non-ambiguity, and realistic consistency. So all this is descriptions for a requirement. So for explaining that to the examiner, you have to say, a necessary and traceability, each requirement should be filled of the purpose. So if I have to build a registration process, I have to understand this process should be start from the beginning until the end. It should be clear and simple. What's mean by non-ambiguity? When I create a registration process, there should be no alternative interpretation for that requirement. Registrations mean a student should register in Arab Open University. Not maybe he will register, maybe after he pay we accept him or not. No, it should be no ambiguity in that. All the information should be clear. Consistency is a requirement should not be contradict to each other. I cannot, for example, having in the same time 2 classes, because will contradict my information. I cannot, as a faculty, Samah, having two class, 10 to 12, face-to-face in the same time. I cannot be in two rooms in the same time. If that thing is there in the system, that is contradictions. That is contradictions. So for these three things, you have briefly explained the difference between all of them and how that related to the requirement. As additional from you, you want to show you understand, you can put an example of necessary and traceability, an example of non-ambiguity, an example of consistency. If we have a time, someone in the exam. Okay? Is that clear, people? Do you have any questions until now? Okay. We just take a break for 5 minutes and come back. Break for 5 minutes and come back. Okay, people. So this is our question. The next we'll have something like another question. Requirement need to be variable and validated. What the difference between them? Verifiable and validated. Verifiable and validated, it should be possible to check that requirement has been implemented. Like I told, for example, if I want to open an account in a Rajhi Bank, it should be, a person should be greater than 18 years old. Then and only he can open an account. So we have to find a way to check this implementation. That's by we checking, before we give them the system, we try to create an account for someone his age less than 18. We'll say 17 or 16. If our system accepts something like that, that means we are not doing that correctly and we are not implemented in the correct way. If our system is not accept for person less than 18, so that we can make we are implemented correctly and we can check and we can be validated, that will never happen. And we will be sure our data are accurately, nobody more less than 18 years old, he have account in a Rajhi Bank. So that's how you check your variability and validation, both of them in one steps. Some of the requirement question, they may say you list requirements. A government for some country decide to build a new public library where people contribute book and other publications of other to borrow. They will say list one, maybe one or two of non-functionality requirements for such a system from each of the following time: usability, humanity, maintainability, and support and legality. Or they may ask define type of requirement and the fit criteria. State the type of the below non-functionality requirement and suggest responsible of fit criteria. User should be able to retrieve their account details on the mobile banking app within 2 seconds. So this is fitting criteria or creations. So for that kind of question, they may ask you, for listing a non-functionality of the system, list a functionality of that system. Like this, think of the questions of requirement, functional or non-functional. They give you scenario, like government for some country decide to build a new public library. Then ask you which kind of functionality we can build from that, which kind of non-functionality we can build from that. We will have something like functionality example, like the website will have a home page. This is a functional requirement. The home page should be loaded within 15 seconds. This is a non-functional requirement. The website will store customer data. This is a functional requirement. A customer data will be encrypted to level 4 encryption. That is a non-functional related, for example, to the security. A website customer can log into their account. This is a functional, should be like that as a system. The website has a capacity for 5,000 log into user. This is anytime anyone can log. This is, you can return back for availability, affordability, or something like that. The website will always be available to the customer. This is a functional requirement. The website must be having 99.7 uptime running. That is called a non-functionality. A customer can access the website on their phones. This is functionality. The website will be compatible with any iPhone or Galaxy or Tab. This is a non-functional requirement. Is that clear, people, how you have to differentiate between functional requirement and non-functional requirement? This concept should be clear for you, and you should be able to make for any system. You think about system in your mind, put list of functionality, put list of non-functionality. You will have a lot of examples like banking system, education system, healthcare, whatever you have in mind, put a list of functional requirement and put a list of non-functional requirement. By that, you will be ready for your exam. Another example related to the fit criteria. Explain why the fit criteria is important for the client, for whom the system is being developed. A fit criteria is something to measure the functionality of our system. As I told you, if you build me a system for a Rajhi Bank, I told you I didn't want anyone to create an account less than 18. But if I found accidentally they have some customer, their age is 9 or 7 or 8, so that will be creating a problem for me as an owner of the system. As an owner of the system, I ask you to build me something, I give you money for that. Another answer might be related to accepting testing, since the client is one who performed the acceptance. So we have to take the accept from the client. If he didn't accept our system, he cannot giving us a money. He will say, this is not the system I asked you to do. Is that clear, people? Do you have any question? We have, as we know from our slide, we have different type of functional requirements. We have business requirements, we have technical requirements, we have look and feel requirements, we have different kind of requirements. So here they will say define type of requirement and the fit criteria. Like we have this fit criteria as example. The home page, in the first page, personal, when the website URL is visited. This is type of business requirement. Customer data can be entered, saved, and retrieved from the website database. This is also business requirements. Customer can authenticate themselves and gain access to their proposal personal account. This is business requirements. The website has 24 availability with the scheduled downtime. This is business requirements. The website will always be available to other customer. The website is responsive and functions correctly across various mobile devices. This is a technical requirement. So it depends on each and every fitting criteria. You can decide the type of requirements related to that. This is just an example, and you may have hundreds of examples like that. Is that clear? For non-functionality fitting criteria, the home page fully load in 1.5 seconds. I think it's just 15 seconds. In 1.5 seconds, we'll take it like this or less on a standard broadband. This is a performance, non-functionality. All customer data must be encrypted with level of 4. This is security. The website support at least 5 users. This is performance, a very high performance. The website is 99% time. This is also performance. The website must function properly in iOS version or Galaxy or Nokia. This is operational and environmental types. Is that clear, people? Do you have any question until now in the functional requirement and non-functional requirement? This is a main question. It's always came to the exam. You have to differentiate between them, and you have to read your scenario carefully to give a good answer. Define the type of requirement. For a type of requirement, the application must check the user, identify. The application must check the user password. The application must validate a user, a functional business, a functional technical solution, and then functional performance. So for each and every application, you can have different type of requirement. You select specific requirement. You match is it functional or non-functional. After you set it's functional related to which type. If you say is non-functional related to which criteria. That is a tutorial for you for all the application. You can just pick any application either from your phone and check these things and try to divide it or put a type for the functionality of the system and the non-functionality of that system. So bottom line, we can see the functional requirements that provide more details or description of the functionality to be provided are categorized as system requirement, user requirement, customer requirement, and developer requirement. For those to which non-functional requirement would be categorized like the product should use a lot of animation, this we can consider as look and feel requirements. So here you have to make sure the functional, it is not a user requirement, it is not a customer requirement, it is not a developer requirement. A functional requirement is related to the system. That means how the system works. For look and feel, that means how the system is look, the color of the system. For all type of things, that is called look and feel requirements. Okay, people, do you have any question in these functional requirements and non-functional requirements? Another example, which software quality factor is associated with the definition? How easily bugs can be found and fixed? A bug is something related to mainability. That means we have to check the system. It is not a correctness, it is not an efficiency, it is not untestability. Okay? Clear, people? Do you have any questions until now? So if no question, we'll go for reviewing Unit 3 fastly. Speak about domain, from domain modeling to requirements. Here we have something like let's do different form of prototyping and briefly discuss who would normally start the prototyping process and who should test it. First of all, we want to understand what's mean by prototyping. Anyone know what's mean by prototype? If you know, can you please just write in the chat room what's mean by prototype as your information? Anyone? Are you sleeping, people? A first version of something made to test or show an idea. One way to improve the analysis and identification of the requirements. Okay. More. Small version. First versions. Okay, this is all correct. We can say a prototype is something. It can be take several form of the prototyping. It's a first version of whatever you are building for accounting system or developer or healthcare. It may be something like a mock-up of the human-computer interface for a specific group of users. You want them to try your system, checking what's going on. A working version of the subset. We cannot give all the functionality of the system in one prototype. We start to take 2 or 3 or 5 tasks building and give it to the user to use it. If they have some problem, they return back for us. It could be an existing piece of software that has some relevance to the user needs. It should be typically initiated by software designer or developer because this is the people they will design the software. But also it should be collaboration with the product owner or the customer or the stakeholder. And the people they will use the system as a user or customer, those people, they have to test the mockup or the prototype version first. So if everything is okay, they return back for us and say that no problem, that everything is okay and we have no issues. We'll go for the first diagram is our activity diagram in the block 1, unit 3. The activity diagram, this is the symbols for our activity diagram. You have to memorize it. There's no other way. You have to memorize the symbol. And when they ask you to draw something, you have to identify each and every task, what symbols you will use. You have to use an arrow in a specific place. You have to use an activity in a specific place. You have to use a guard if they ask you, and where to use a swim line if they ask you to use it. For each one of these, they have their own job. This is for activity. This is for the start. This is for the end. This is for arrows from going from place to another place, transition. This is for synchronization. If you have 2 jobs in the same time, we call that is a fork or a synchronization bar. So we can see something like this here. This is our first activity diagram. Verifying access code, start point and end point. Activations code, we have some decision to make. Is incorrect, we'll go this area. If it's incorrect, we'll go for this area. This is called a guard condition. If we have anything here, that's mean a synchronization bar. That's mean 2 things happen at the same time, here and here. We have a decision branch here. Either we'll go for amount not available or amount available. Then I will go for activity, swim lane again, and final the activation. This is how the correct activity diagram look like. For the activity, you cannot, and you should not draw something like rectangular. This is considered wrong. consider wrong if you're drawing something like that. The drawing should be like this. This is the symbol, yeah, people. So you have to use the correct symbol. Don't use things from your mind. For the activity diagram, you can think about something. They may ask you develop an activity diagram for canceling reservation for a hotel system with the following requirements. Use a swim lane to represent two rules. The guest, where is my cursor? The guest and the receptionist. So I have two rules here, 1 and 2, where the guest requests the cancellation and the receptionist apply it. If the cancellation was done 3 days before check-in, the guest will only be charged a cancellation. Otherwise, the guest will be charged cancellation fee in addition to the cost of one night. So they will say, make sure you use 8 activity. طبعا in the exam, they will not give you the 8 activity. You have to create your own activity. So here, just we give a sample. Authentications user, retrieve reservation, display reservation, confirm cancellation, check cancellation, process refund, sending cancellation, update form, and you have to use these symbols. So you can draw something like that. We have 2 rules, guest and receptionist. A guest will request for cancellation, so this is the first activity. We'll send it to provide reservation details. This is the second activity. This is the job for the guest here is finished. So the next step will go for the receptionist. Check for reservation. If it is normal cancellation, that means before the 3 days, we add the cancellation charge and calculate the total and confirm the cancellation. If the cancellation is late, that means less than 3 days, so we have to add some payment for that. Is a one night, as they mentioned here, we have to charge for one night and add the cancellation charge, then calculate the total, this is activity, confirm the cancellation, and finally provide the payment. And this is the start circle, and this is the end circle. By drawing this activity, that means you are drawing a correct activity diagram. Is that clear, people? Do you have any questions? Okay. For this cancellation and reservation, or this blue line here, you can select any other example, like you can select online shopping process, loan approval process, travel looking process, customer support process, order process, whatever you can see here, it can be correct for your checking. Okay. I'll just close this here. I want to show with you, I check with you one mock exam for MTA before we close. I'll just stop the sharing. Here is a sample for one of MTA mock exam. You can see for MTA exam, these some instructions you have to understand it. For this instruction, you have to read here, people. The exam has 3 parts where you have to answer all the questions. Each part the total marks will be 60 divided into 2, so your marks will be 30. The multiple choice question is 6 marks. The short answer is 24 marks. The problem solving is 30 marks. Then they have to ask you write your name, your university ID, answer in the booklet. On the exam question paper will not be gray. I notice when I am checking for some students, people, and that is unfortunate for them, the answer people should be in the answer booklet. Even for the MCQ, ya jama'a. Don't write, some of you, they make correctly in the MCQ and they forget to copy the answer in the answer booklet, so they will lose the marks. This is the rule of the university, people. So here, what I'm saying, راح تفتحوا ال MCQ. You open this questions paper and you find yourself, you find answer number 1B, 2A, 3D, and you forget to take this answer into your booklet. So please be aware, when you answering the MCQ questions, make sure you put your answer in the answer booklet sheet, because that is what we correct your answer. If you forget to copy your answer there, then we will have a problem here. So please, please, please make sure you are copying the answers. Okay? So normally we'll have 3 MCQ. Each one was asked 2. Like this question here, the definition of relevant terms are usually placed in which artifact, that is in the glossary. This is worth 2 marks. Which of the following not covered by security requirements? Access is a requirement, privacy is a requirement, audit is a requirement. So support is not a security requirement. Which test can indicate whether use of specialization is correct or not? That is stability. And this is you have to be sure about your answer for the MCQ. There is no other ways, either A or B or C or D. What we have, and very important for us, is the short answer. This is a very important part. They will be around 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. Each one will be cost you 6 marks, around 24 marks. For each one, they will be 6 marks. Total of 424. People, طبعا, this is an example. It should not be must come like this. This is an old exam. You find this exam in the LMS. So we'll see the first question. The important characteristic of software that affect the development are malleability, complexity, size. Briefly explain. So you know how much this part is important? So this is very important. Here they ask you to explain the malleability, the complexity, and the size. The same what we saw now in the our slide. Here they give us a scenario. A government for some country decide to build a new public library where people contribute book and other publication for other. That's what we already say. Here you see the answer. Our answer here is depends on what you understand for some kind of question like this. What you understand, if you write something correct, you get your marks. So that's why I told you, you have to understand, then memorize, then understand the questions. Another way of the question slide, list 2 different forms of prototyping and briefly discuss who would normally share the prototyping of the process. This question is for the exam itself. Another example here, briefly discuss the importance of the time. This is in unit number 5. And how it can be represented in the class diagram. That means you are giving an example. You can give the same example from the book, from the slides, or you can give your own example if it is correct. Tamam. The most important part for us is a diagrams. You have to read the scenario here carefully and see what they ask you to do. They ask you to develop an activity for canceling reservation for a hotel system. And this is already in our slide, people. They didn't make any extra effort here. They giving us what we already have in our slide, the hotel system, the reservation, the cancellation, the check-in, the check-out. So make sure you understand your slides correctly to make you get a high marks in the mid and in the final. The questions, ya jama'a, it will not be from out of the blue. The question, it will be from the slide and from what we are taken and for what we teach you. So please be People, I told you in the mid exam, we will cover, still there, some people ask me what we'll cover in the mid. In the mid, ya Jama'a, in the MTA, we'll cover unit 1, 2, 3, and 5. In the TMA, we'll cover 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. In the final, we'll cover the entire course. Okay? Is that clear for all of you? Do you have any questions? Okay, people, if you don't have any question, we will stop here. I will see you next week, inshallah. Just be with me a minute. I will download your attendance. Just like this. Okay, that's all. Thank you for your attendance. See you next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.